Howdy, y'all. Boo Boo Money here. I hope you're having a splendid day today. Terrific day today. I know I am. Welcome to my new show. Talking, talking, talking bass. Turn the bass up. Turn up the bass. Turn up the bass with Boo Boo Money. We'll go with that. Where we talk about bass related stuff and sometimes unrelated bass stuff. I don't know. I just have some extra time, so I thought it'd be cool to make a video on this article that I came across on Loudwire regarding Flea kind of openly admitting he doesn't like to take photos of the fans, which I think is kind of interesting. I think it opens up a unique dialogue for fans and artists alike, and kind of maybe if you're an artist or you're a fan of music, or movies, anything really, how you kind of fit in this conversation. According to this article here on Loudwire, this fan had this candid interaction with Flea and Anthony Kiedis from a recent gig, and I guess somebody recorded it. Anyways, they go to Twitter. They take to Twitter, and they say, "Thank you and Anthony Kiedis for being so kind and genuine while meeting us. You're both such rays of sunshine. You didn't have to stop and chat, but you did. And I hope you know that you really impacted our lives. We love you and AK Anthony Kiedis with all our hearts. Gold heart at Chili Peppers. Tight." So I can just say right off the bat, as artists, that's something we kind of live for, meeting fans and talking to people. But then it kind of takes a little bit of a weird turn because fans start sharing their interactions, and I guess Flea at some point decided to retweet this fan's kind of original tweet and then reply or respond. Basically saying, "It's because you all generated a kind and gentle light and you didn't ask for a picture. We're always down to talk and chat. Asking for a photo ruins it instantly." To which point another fan chimed in, "What's wrong with fans asking for pictures?" To which Flea replied, "There's nothing wrong with it, but it ruins having actual conversation. It is a transaction." So, yeah, let me just preface by saying, take what I say with a grain of salt, because though I am a huge music fan, I don't think I was meant to talk today. Like, I've been slurring my words all day. It's like isn't like a sign of having a stroke or something. No, take what I say with a grain of salt, because even though I'm a huge fan, my band is gratefully, I'm stoked that my band is relatively popular, but we're still like nowhere in the same realm as like the Chili Peppers yet. I don't know. I guess the first thing that I would say is that musicians are fucking weird. If you know a musician, chances are they're weird. And I don't mean that in necessarily a bad way. It's just musicians, artists, actors, anybody who does performing arts, you kind of have to be built differently to do what we do. Mainly because this is one of the few industries I feel that you're basically kind of expected to fail, or at least you're not taken seriously. Which it blows my mind, because people will shell out like $400 a ticket to see certain artists, but the second someone in their family wants to do the music thing, it's just, the fact that it's called doing the music thing. So to be an artist, you need to be very unique and just wired a little differently. Now, to be an artist at Flea's level, these are guys that have been at it since the 80s, just going hard. But I don't necessarily think that that's what Flea is kind of saying here. I think that mainly, I think that as performers, we kind of go into a headspace anytime we perform, whether it's music, whether it's interviews. It's like you kind of have to get into this headspace. And I think that maybe asking for a photo kind of puts him specifically in that headspace, which I can understand. Coming from the fans' perspective, though, it's like, you're spending good money. Not even, fuck the money. These are artists that have, in a lot, in more times than not, have impacted your life pretty substantially, right? Got you through some tough times, or maybe like the soundtrack to your youth. There's like a level of nostalgia there, and bands, along with movies and other kind of consumable art, which sounds redundant because all art is made to be consumed. Sorry. But you play a role in somebody else's life, whether you like to or not. And on a side note, when musicians come out here and say, "Oh, well, I just make music because I like to make music. I wasn't expecting to be famous or, touch all these people's lives or whatever." That to me is a huge pile of shit. Granted, I'm sure that there's a very tiny percent of, artists that accidentally got famous through like, a meme or, through having like a hit song that just blew the fuck up. But in order to maintain that, which is actually why I respect, pop artists and like a lot of mainstream artists so much. In order to maintain that popularity, you need to work your ass off. When you see a band like the Chili Peppers, for instance, doing their thing, selling out arenas, like that's something that didn't just happen. They're a band that have worked tirelessly for it. And then when artists say, well, I got famous by accident, it's low-key insulting to the bands that are working super hard, but more so, it's just not true. Because if that was the case, you wouldn't have signed a contract. You wouldn't keep yourself on tour. You wouldn't do all the promo. I know that there's exterior factors involved, like if you sign something that you don't really know you're signing, or maybe, you're a minor and your parents are like signing on behalf of you, like, okay, there's always those kind of instances. But by and large, no one gets to the top unless they work their ass off. Or blindly work their ass off in some instances, I guess. People don't know what they're getting into, but they know that they want to do something, or they're told that they're good at it, so they need to keep doing it. In any case, though, to the fan perspective, I don't know. I think it's kind of shot, man. I remember being at a WrestleMania event over in San Jose. And I remember, I was really into wrestling as a kid, but my wife, who also was into it when she was a kid, she kind of got back into it, I think, when I was on tour. And she sees this, like, kind of like newer roster guys. He's like one of like the, kind of like the newer guys that wasn't entirely, I don't even think he was on the bill that night. But he was just kind of hanging out on the sides. And my wife kind of like walked up to take a picture with him because, again, she was like, pretty invested at that point. So she knew who to look for. She knew who this guy was. He wasn't really getting a whole lot of attention in that particular time, but went up and asked him for a photo, and dude straight up just like, no, I'm not doing it. Now in that particular situation, maybe it's because the event was going on and he was trying like not to draw attention to himself. I don't know, probably the case, but it affected her quite a bit. It takes a lot of nerve to come up to somebody and ask them for something. I mean, famous or not, it's just a big deal. It's a big deal to go up to somebody and say, "Hey, can I take a photo with you?" So I think from the fan perspective, it's kind of shot, it's kind of shot not to just do the photo thing. But I will say that being a musician and doing this whole touring thing is a little exhausting. There's a lot of anxiety that goes into it. I definitely don't feel that Flea was being, disrespectful. I think that he's just being honest. And I think that goes back to what I was saying about musicians just being built differently. I think that for somebody like him, he genuinely appreciates the social interaction aspect of it because, asking for photos kind of, cheapens the experience a little bit. But, in a lot of ways, a lot of fans are very introvert. So for them, just asking for a photo and getting proof that they got to meet somebody that they looked up to, that might be their way of communicating that they appreciate your work. I know for me, if you ever come out to an Allegiant show, I personally love taking photos with everybody. My whole band does, in fact. Not only do we enjoy meeting the people that support us, but also it's the best job in the world. So even though something might seem a little daunting, it's nothing in comparison to doing something that we don't enjoy and we don't love. When you're a musician, you're providing a service. And I think that taking photos with fans is just an extension of that service. That's my thoughts on it. I don't know. What do you think? Bye-bye.